Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is 5 possible reasons why the tribulation could start September the 25th of 2022. I better say that again. 5 possible reasons the tribulation could start. Notice I didn't say it is. I said possible reasons why it could. Do I know it's going to? No. Do I think it possibly could? Yes, which is why I'm making this program today. 5 possible reasons why the tribulation could start September 25th of 2022. Now, let me explain to you how this came about. So I got an email and someone sent me over to go and read what NASA was saying about this Apophis meteorite. Actually, it's an asteroid at this point. It becomes a meteorite as soon as it enters into our atmosphere. And I'd heard of this before, and I thought, yeah, well, I mean, it's out there, but I hadn't really looked into it and really compared it to prophecies and charts the way I really should have. So when I started reading this article, I thought, I got to study into this a lot deeper. Well, the deeper I studied, the more I saw the possibilities. So I'll say it again, possibilities. Now, do not say, Stan Johnson of the Prophecy Club is saying that the tribulation is going to start this year. Or he's going to, the Stan Johnson Prophecy Club is going to say that the tribulation ends in 2029. I'm not saying either of those. I, like most of the people watching here, are watchmen. Okay, so as a watchman, you and I are supposed to blow the trumpet when we see the sword approach. In other words, if we see a possible problem coming, it is our duty to warn people. Now, we don't have to be guaranteed that the sword comes, but we do have to warn when we think a sword is coming. So when I see a problem, I, like you, we're obligated to tell. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to tell you right up front, I do not know that the tribulation is going to start in 2022, nor that Jesus returns in 2029, but I see enough reasons why we need to talk about it. Okay, so let's get started. Possibility number 1. I didn't say reason. I said possibility number 1, Apophis. It arrives in 2029, and if you back up 7 years, it comes up to 2022.
I'm a businesswoman, not a baby woman. Taxi!
You have a boardroom full of...
This is the article that I read. Apophis. This is at NASA Science Solar System Exploration, and it says this asteroid 99942, Apophis, is a near-Earth asteroid more than 1,000 feet across in size that will harmlessly pass close to the Earth April the 13th of 2029. Now, I want you to look at that date. April 13th, that just happens to be a Friday the 13th. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's something. When it was discovered in 2004, the asteroid caused a stir because initial calculations indicated a small possibility that it would impact the Earth in 2029. Now, I got a question for you. Do you believe it's possible that NASA might not tell us all of the truth? In other words, if they really did see that there's a strong possibility or even a slight possibility that a meteor could hit the Earth, would they really put it on a website? Would they really tell us all these years in advance, all the way out to 2004? Or might they not to tell people yet? Well, I'm going to err on the side of caution. I'm going to say that even if they knew it was coming, I don't think they'd tell us. After searching through some older astronomical images, scientists ruled out the possibility of a 2029 impact. It's now predicted the asteroid will safely pass about 19,800 miles from our planet's surface. While that's a safe distance, it's close enough the asteroid will come between Earth and our moon. Okay, that's pretty close. But going back to my question, do you think NASA would tell us? If they really saw that it was going to hit us, would they tell us? Probably not. Probably not. Let's go on, though. So this comes to us from Tom Horn. Now, I do not know Tom Horn. I believe he's a man of God. He's written several books. and he's probably telling the truth. So, assuming for a moment that Tom Horn is telling the truth, let's look and see what he says. He says, I was shown a giant space rock, an asteroid, moving through the space. Suddenly, he was back on the Earth again, surrounded by tens of thousands of people on a mountain, running for their lives. People were everywhere, screaming and begging God to deliver them from what is coming. I watched this fiery mountain. Notice those words, because I'm going to show you those words in prophecy in just a minute. I watched this fiery mountain entering into the atmosphere, burning as it comes through the atmosphere, breaking apart. Also notice breaking apart means that it's not just one impact. That fits with prophecy here in just a minute. Through the atmosphere, breaking apart as it comes through the atmosphere, a huge part of it strikes the ocean. We have other prophecies saying they saw meteors hit the ocean. A large part of it strikes the earth. Other prophecies say that some of them hit the earth. So all of this seems to be lining up. And all of a sudden, the earth is shaking so violently that none of us could stand up. We were all knocked off of our feet. It was the most horrific thing. I can hear this terrible sound as if the earth is literally cracking. Now look at this. I'm going to show you this in prophecy. Cracking like the mantle of the earth is breaking apart. The mantle of the earth is breaking apart. Could that be the bottomless pit? I'll show you. I look over my shoulder again at this giant wall of water, just an enormous tsunami, hundreds of feet tall, is coming up over the top of this mountain, and again, everybody is trying to run. Then these large hands lift me up into the space, and now I'm looking down on the earth, and the waters are boiling beneath this giant burning rock. The water was like aerosol coming up off the ocean, entering into the upper atmosphere. This caused hurricane activity. The second part hitting the earth, causing volcanoes to begin erupting, filling the atmosphere. Then a voice spoke this one word, Apophis. Now, I heard his testimony. He said he never heard that word before. He had to go look it up. Well, he discovered that NASA had actually discovered this asteroid back in 2004 and named it Apophis. Apophis is a real asteroid. I've confirmed that. NASA says it's going to come so close to the Earth that it's going to knock out the satellites, some of them. It is moving at 28,000 miles an hour and believes it will strike the Earth on Friday, April 13th. Friday, April 13th, that's Friday. Apophis is going to strike the Earth April 13th, 2029. Now, let's jump to prophecy. Revelation 8:6. And the seven angels which had the seven trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, hail, fire, mingled blood, cast into the earth. 30 of the trees burn up, all green grass burn up. Does that sound like there's maybe a meteor getting close to the earth? Does that sound like as it gets close to the earth, it actually burns up all of the grass, and a third of the trees are burned up as that heat, as that burning meteor gets close to the earth? Does that sound like what it could be? It does to me. Second angel sounded. A great mountain burning with fire cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea became blood. Does that sound like that could be a meteor? Does to me. Third part of the creatures in the sea had life, died. Third part of the ships are destroyed. Yeah, it sounds about right. Third angel sounded. There fell a great star from heaven. Now this one is probably one of those parts of the asteroid, or now become a meteor, that's entering into the atmosphere so fast and hard, it's burning. It, as you look up at it, it looks like the brightest light you've ever seen in your life. A great star burning as it were a lamp. It fell upon a third part of the water, the rivers and fountains of waters. The name of the star is called Wormwood. And a third part of the waters became wormwood. And many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Fourth angel sounded. Third part of the sun was smitten. Now, does it sound like something happened to where it wasn't just one asteroid? It wasn't just one thing that passed through? Could it be? They say that, I think it was as of the year 2000, we moved into a different belt. I mean, I'm not an expert in this stuff. Out in the solar system. And this one has more meteorites and asteroids and things like that in it. Could it be that something roughly the third the size of the sun slams into the sun in addition to this? It's all part of it To me, that's what it sounds like. Third part of the stars, there's a third part of them were darkened. The day shone not for a third part of the night likewise. That's big. Now, in between the fourth and the fifth trumpet, something amazing happens. We see an angel flying through the midst of heaven, warning all of humanity, saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa," because there's three more that are not part of the trumpets, not part of the seals or the vials, but there are three more great woes coming, and they're really tough too, but we're not going to get into that right now. Now let's go to the fifth one. Remember I said that there was something like a big crack in the earth? The fifth angel sat and I saw a star fall from heaven to the earth, and him was given the key of the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there was a smoke out of the pit. Now, could it be that one of these asteroids hitting the earth breaks or cracks the mantle of the earth? Remember where it said that? Okay. Breaks the mantle of the earth, and as a result, this is the angel that opens the bottomless pit. And what comes out of that pit are locusts, and they have the power to torment men 5 months. So this tells us at this point, we are at least, maybe more, but at least 5 months before the end when Jesus returns. Now, let me show you this according to a chart here. Possibility number 2, Apophis arrives on Firstfruits. Let's go to the chart. Now, this is a new addition to this chart for those of you that have been studying this. So the next time Jesus returns, he returns on Firstfruits. Remember Acts 1:11. "You men of Galilee, why stand you gazing up? This same Jesus, shall so come in like manner as you've seen him go." Okay, well, he just had fish with the disciples. He just let Thomas feel the nail scars. And now he's coming down in a cloud. As he went up in a lamb body. Probably, I think he'll come back down in the same clothes even. In other words, this time, when he returns on Firstfruits, he's not coming as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. When does he become King of Kings and Lord of Lords? Well, that's not until the marriage supper of the Lamb. Well, when is the marriage supper of the Lamb, Stan? I'm so glad you asked. Marriage supper of the Lamb happens on Pentecost. Now, let me fit it in. Okay, so Jesus returns the next time here on Firstfruits. He comes down, if you watch my cursor here, he comes down in a cloud. He resurrects 144,000 one-year-old Jewish boys. That's topics for other explanations at the time. Get my book, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. I explain all this. Okay, so with the 144,000, he walks around for exactly 50 days. Then on Pentecost, then we, who are ready, are taken to the marriage supper of the Lamb. Jesus is there, and then crowned King of Kings and Lord of Lords. This is where he changes from lamb to lion. He changes it from prince of the kings of the earth to become the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. This is where he comes before the Ancient of Days and his given dominion, glory, and a kingdom. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, and all people shall serve and obey him, and his kingdom is that which shall not be destroyed. That's where it happens. How do you know that happens on Pentecost, Dan? Well, very good question. Go back to Acts chapter 19, first verse. It says, "And in the third month." And this is when God spoke audibly to the Israelites, saying, "I'll be God if you'll be my people." In other words, that's the first marriage. So the first marriage and the last marriage takes place on Pentecost. That's how we know. So let me back up. So Jesus returns. He comes down on Firstfruits, resurrects 144,000. Then he walks around for 50 days, goes to the marriage supper of the Lamb. About 4 months later, it's the grape harvest. It's the seventh trumpet. It's Armageddon. He returns there with 2 other angels that have sharp sickles, and the angels slash the grapes. Jesus burns the tares. Now let's fit this in. So try to imagine. Okay, so Jesus comes down on Firstfruits, but Apophis, the big meteorite, also arrives April 13th, if it is 2029, and I'm not saying it is. But if it is, that would be April 13th, Friday, that would be Firstfruits. So on this side of the planet, over in Israel, we have Jesus coming down. And why is he coming down? Because this is the midnight cry. Behold, there was a cry, at midnight there was a cry made. And it says, "Go ye out to meet him." Probably at midnight there was a cry made, "Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him." Why does it say go ye out to meet him? Because he literally comes down to Mount Zion. That's about a 30-minute walk from Mount of Olives. And if you're living in Jerusalem, you would be able to walk up there and actually meet Jesus. Matter of fact, he walks around for 50 days with 144,000 one-year-old Jewish boys, whether they're adults, whether they're children. But anyway, could it also be on the other side of the planet, this big asteroid is hitting? Well, why would that fit his plan? Because his whole point is to say this is the midnight cry. This is saying that the time is running out. This is a very good attempt, if you're looking at it from God's point of view, to get the hard-headed, stiff-necked Jews and the other people of the earth that haven't received Jesus to receive him, because all of a sudden this big meteor slams into the earth on the other side of the planet. So that would tend to wake up a lot of people. Now, so is that possible that it does? Okay, now let me give you another reason. Let's go to the other chart here, because possibility number 3 is first fruit plays with the first 5 trumpets. Now let's look at that chart. Remember, the audible voice told me that their 7 seals play over 7 years. That means they conclude here. The 7 trumpets play over 7 months. They conclude on the same Feast of Trumpets. The 7 vials play over 7 days. Again, it all concludes on the Feast of Trumpets, that when Jesus returns. So, if you look at this chart, I put up here barley harvest and wheat harvest. In my opinion, these first, second, third, fourth, and fifth trumpet all play on about or around the same time. Probably, it's just a guess, probably within a 2-week period. Here it says the locusts sting men for 5 months. Now, that does not necessarily mean this is 5 months from the end. It just says that they sting for 5 months. So it could be that all 5 of these events happen on about or around the same time, and it could very well be that the start of that is Apophis hitting April 13th, or the first trumpet. If you back up to this other chart right here, see, here's the barley harvest, here's first fruits. This chart is showing from first fruits here to tabernacles here. This is showing the last 7 months. This chart here, from here to here, it is showing the last 7 months. So first fruits, in other words, this first fruits is the same as this first fruits. So it could very well be that this Apophis is actually the first, second, third, fourth, and even the fifth trumpets all combined. In other words, it's one asteroid turning into a meteor, hitting America, or hitting, mostly America, but hitting the world, and causing all 5 of these to happen as a result of it. So it could very well be that this is the results of Apophis. There's more. Okay, let's go on. Possibility number 4. Next time Jesus returns is on the last first fruits, which is on Mount Zion. So let's look at those verses. Revelation 14:1, I looked into a lamb stood upon the Mount Zion. Now that's the verse that upsets all of the pre-tribbers, because none of the pre-tribbers have taken that particular verse into account. It's almost like they knew. I think the Holy Spirit knows the truth. There's not a pre-trib rapture, okay? So that's the reason the pre-tribbers get so upset at anybody that doesn't agree with them, because in their spirit, the Holy Spirit's trying to tell them, no, you don't have the truth. You don't have the truth. It's the reason they get so upset. Now, me, a post-tribber, it didn't bother me. I'm in a room of pre-tribbers. I don't mind. I go out to eat with the pre-tribbers. They don't bother me at all, because it's settled in my heart. See, it's not settled in their heart. Well, I believe they knew that there's probably one verse that is going to upset their apple cart. Well, there it is. That's the verse that, as far as I know, no pre-tribber has come into account. They have not tried to explain this particular verse and how it fits into the whole thing. Why? Because this upsets their apple cart. They want to say that before Jesus returns, at the very end, he returns in like a secret rapture. He pulls all the Christians up off of the earth, and they go to the marriage supper of the Lamb. That doesn't fit with the feasts. It doesn't fit, okay? But nevertheless, then he returns on the Mount of Olives. Well, here he is returning clearly on Mount Sinai. It's a 30-minute walk from Mount of Olives. So that means Jesus returns 2 more times. Enough of that. That's explanation for another day. Anyway, I looked, and the Lord Lamb stood upon the Mount Sinai with him 144,000, having his Father's name written in their foreheads. Now, this is the first fruits. You look down here at verse 4, and you see this highlighted yellow firstfruits. That is the secret door. This firstfruits, this word firstfruits, in Revelation 14:4 links back to Leviticus 23:10. Same word, firstfruits. And as a result of that secret door, as a result, we can now say, well, all right, if that's firstfruits in Revelation, and that's got to be firstfruits also over in the feasts, then now watch this. All of a sudden we can say, well, those two link together. Then we say, well, if those two link together, then that would mean that the next one with the Pentecost would have to fit after that. And of course, I can show you, and I've showed you in other programs that does. So then Pentecost, and then trumpets, and then all the rest of them all fit in order. In other words, that secret door allows them to link up so that all the rest of the prophecies in Revelation can be put in correct chronological order. If you want to understand that, get my book, Secret Door to Understand Bible Prophecy. But now back to what we're talking about here. So this is Mount Sinai. Jesus returns upon Mount Sinai. And this is the first fruits. So it may very well be that is the way it happens. Now, the next reason, Pastor Terry Bennett, and this is a long one. It would take me too long to read all through it, so I'm just going to skip quick. Essentially, in 2001, he had the angel Gabriel come to him, and he said there's 3 sets of 7 years. Told him what's going to happen at each one of them. If you want to read that, you can pause it and read it, but I'm going to move on. But he said in 2008, America is no longer going to be the number one military and economic power in the world, and explains all of the change in the U.S. currency, which is about to happen. We're going to skip through this, let you read that, pause and read that if you want to. There's going to be a dramatic change in our government, lawlessness, chaos. The new government in Europe is coming. He says, watch for nations, Greece, Italy, Spain, and France. We're going to skip that. We'll begin in economic. We're going to skip that. You can put, now, I say all of that to get to this. Now let's look at the years 2022 to 2028. Notice, he does not say this is the tribulation, but indirectly, that's exactly what he says. Okay, let's read it. The governmental troubles will be in preparation for, particularly in Europe, the arising of the spirit of the Antichrist. What is coming is called the New World Order, but behind that, it's the spirit of Antichrist and the false prophet and spirit of a one-world religion. It will be a combination of 3 world religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, all brought together in one world religion. Those 3 will be combined as a compromise, a mixture. Each of those 3 religions believes in one God. The one world religion, I'm going to skip that. It's missing our point here. As we go forward, it will move to murder. That's the mark of the beast. We understand that. As Catholics, many people would be murdered. We understand that. That's all part of causes all both. Okay. He will never be fully accepted. Let you read that if you want to. People of Ireland, Scotland, never going to accept the Antichrist. He said, you will see 666 in your lifetime. Now, I don't know how old Terry is, but he looks to be, let's say, he's probably in his 50s now. Just a guess. Okay, let's go on. So here it is. Possibility number 5, Terry Bennett. So if you look at that, what is that saying? If Terry is saying, let me back up to this. If he's saying that, and he was told that in so many words, the tribulation would start in 2022, end in 2028. Well, Apophis is supposed to arrive in 2029. But if you take that 2022, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, well, 7 years would actually be 29, not 2028. So we're close enough in the ballpark for me to make a program on it to warn you. So, what is it? All right, now, one more quick thing. Is there any way we know that we're not already in the tribulation? Yes. Revelation 6:1, I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder. I've not heard that noise of thunder. I'd like to think we get to hear it, but there's not a scripture that guarantees we get to hear the noise of thunder. Then if you jump to Daniel 9:27, I think it is, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Well, as far as I know, there hasn't been any kind of a big covenant, especially a covenant that says it's going to be a 7-year covenant. So it's safe to say we're not in the tribulation yet, but I also think it's safe to say it's very close. Now, whether it starts in 2022 or not, I don't know. I do think it is close, and that's the whole point of this. And let me also say, if you haven't accepted Jesus, now would be a really good time to do it.